Unlock your project management potential with PMP-360 Bootcamp. Are you gearing up to take the PMP exam but feel overwhelmed by its vast syllabus? Don't dive into the depths alone. Join us for a transformative half-day bootcamp that promises not just to prepare, but to propel you into the world of project management. PMP-360 is your gateway to building a solid foundation for professional project management. Venue: online, zoom in from anywhere in the world. Check for dates and times as this bootcamp occurs all through the year at key points each quarter. Get informed, get inspired, and get wired for excellence. What is PMP-360? PMP-360 is your fast track to mastering the PMP exam. In just 4 hours, you'll gain a comprehensive overview of the exam's framework, beautifully segmented into people, process, and business. We meticulously explore the 35 tasks outlined by PMI, ensuring you know exactly what to expect. All your questions will be answered. Business case for PMP-360. The PMP exam might initially seem straightforward when broken down into categories like people, process, and business. However, it's the depth and the nuanced nature of the questions that truly reveal its complexity. The exam's design is intricately situational, testing candidates on a myriad of project management aspects simultaneously, from schedule and cost to procurement, risk, stakeholder communication, and integration. Each question could blend elements of agile methodologies with predictive approaches, presenting a challenging mix that demands a thorough understanding. To navigate this labyrinth, a strong foundational knowledge is crucial. Without it, the intricately crafted questions, often laden with subtleties and potential trickeries, can be misleading. It's not uncommon to encounter a question framed from a predictive standpoint, only to find that the answers lean towards agile principles or vice versa. This interplay between agile and predictive elements in both questions and answer choices underscores the need for a solid grasp of the core principles. Recognizing the pivotal role of foundational knowledge, our 4-hour bootcamp is designed as an essential stepping stone. View this session not just as a preparatory step, but as a deep dive into the very DNA of the PMP exam. This half-day bootcamp is your opportunity to solidify your understanding of the exam's structure and content, ensuring you are well prepared to tackle its complexities. Embrace this chance to build a robust foundation that will support you through the demanding landscape of the PMP exam. Why PMP-360? Expert-led training. Learn from Phil, a trainer PMP-certified in 2005 who has coached teams at the FBI, NASA, the U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, and more. Tailored content. Whether you're a newcomer or a seasoned professional needing a refresher, this session is tailored to fortify your project management foundation. Certification boost. Complete the session and earn a badge that represents 4 hours of foundational PMP education, which can be applied toward your certification or maintenance. PDUs awarded. Receive 4 professional development units to help maintain your PMP certification. Who should attend? PMP exam candidates. Perfect for those about to tackle the exam or in the midst of preparation. Certified PMPs, a great opportunity for professionals certified 1 years ago to refresh their knowledge and stay updated with current exam content. Takeaways. Attendees will receive a robust handout that serves as an invaluable guide through the PMP exam landscape. Don't miss out on this chance to elevate your skills and ensure your readiness for the PMP exam. Spots are limited and early registration is advised. Sign up now! Secure your seat and get ready to transform your understanding of project management with PMP-360. This isn't just training, it's an investment in your career. Let's discuss the people domain. The people domain of the PMP exam focuses extensively on the dynamics of team management and interpersonal relations within project management. This domain emphasizes the critical importance of leadership and communication skills, which are indispensable for effectively guiding a team and ensuring project success. Here's a concise breakdown. Leadership and communication. At the heart of the people domain is the ability to lead and communicate. This involves not only directing tasks and responsibilities, but also inspiring and motivating a team. Effective communication is foundational, ensuring that ideas, instructions, and feedback are exchanged clearly and constructively. Interpersonal skills and conflict resolution. Project managers must excel in interpersonal interactions, adept at navigating and resolving conflicts that may arise within diverse teams. This includes understanding and managing different personalities, cultural sensitivities, and individual motivations. Soft skills. These are crucial for fostering a healthy team environment and include emotional intelligence, empathy, and adaptability. Soft skills enable project managers to connect with team members on a personal level, enhancing collaboration and productivity. Development models and theories. Hersey-Blanchard Situational Leadership Model. This model suggests that successful leaders adjust their leadership style based on the maturity of the individuals they are leading, emphasizing the need for flexibility in leadership approaches. Tuckman's Ladder, 5 stages of team development. Understanding these stages, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, is vital for managing team dynamics and development effectively. Servant leadership. Inspired by Robert Greenleaf, this philosophy positions the leader as a servant who focuses on the needs of team members and stakeholders before considering their own. It's about empowering and uplifting the team. Organizational theories. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Recognizing what motivates team members at different levels allows for more tailored and effective leadership strategies. McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y. These theories provide insights into how perceptions of team motivations, pessimistic in X and optimistic in Y, can influence managerial style and team handling. Agile-mindedness. In modern project management, especially in agile frameworks, there's a shift from traditional authoritative leadership towards a more collaborative and facilitative approach. It's less about command and control and more about coaching and enablement. Nuanced approach. Instead of a lord over people mentality, the people domain encourages a nuanced, Theory Y approach where leaders believe in the intrinsic motivation and development potential of their team members. This mindset fosters a positive, supportive environment conducive to innovative and agile thinking. Overall, the people domain is about building and leading teams with a nuanced understanding of human dynamics, promoting an environment where both the project and its people can thrive. This domain equips project managers with the essential skills to navigate the complexities of human interactions in a project setting, ensuring leadership is both effective and empathetic. 360 PMRadio.org. Let's discuss the process domain. The process domain of the PMP exam is a critical area that probes the depths of a project manager's technical expertise and strategic acumen from both an agile and predictive perspective. It also probes for hybrid awareness and thinking. It ventures into the granular aspects of project management methodologies, distinguishing between seemingly similar concepts and processes that are pivotal in the real-world execution of projects. Here's a structured breakdown of this domain. Technical foundations and definitions. Scope and requirements. Understanding the difference between scope, the boundaries of the project, and requirements, specific needs to satisfy project goals, is foundational. Product versus project requirements. Distinguishing between requirements aimed at the end product and those necessary for managing the project. Work breakdown structure, WBS, versus schedule. Recognizing the WBS as a decomposition of the project into manageable sections versus the schedule, which outlines the timeline for delivering these sections. Schedule versus milestone chart, differentiating between a detailed project schedule and a milestone chart that highlights key project phases and deadlines. Activities list versus schedule baseline. Understanding how a list of project activities differs from a schedule baseline, which serves as a standard for measuring project progress. Quality and validation. Quality assurance versus quality control. Distinguishing between processes aimed at preventing defects, quality assurance, and those designed to identify defects, quality control. Validate, scope versus control quality. Validate scope involves confirming project deliverables meet acceptance criteria and are formally signed off by the client. In contrast, control quality focuses on meeting the internal quality requirements set by the project organization. Risk management. Understanding risk. It's essential to manage both positive and negative risks, employing strategies like avoid, transfer, mitigate, and accept. Risk response strategies. The mnemonic EMV9Es, enhance, accept, share, exploit, and escalate, helps remember the different techniques to manage identified risks. Qualitative versus quantitative risk analysis. Knowing when to use qualitative methods, quick subjective assessments, and when to employ quantitative techniques, detailed numerical analysis. Agile and predictive methodologies. Navigating agile and predictive thinking. Mastery over both agile and predictive project management approaches is necessary, often blending these into a hybrid model suitable for varying project demands. Deep dive into Scrum and Kanban. Understanding Scrum as an iterative method with defined roles, events, and artifacts versus Kanban, which is flow-based, emphasizing continuous delivery without overburdening the team. Preparation through PMP-360. Our PMP-360 seminar is designed to condense these complex and voluminous topics into a digestible format, enhancing your understanding rapidly. The seminar prepares you to tackle the situational questions of the PMP exam, focusing on the critical "what should the PM do next?" scenarios. This preparation is not just about memorization, but understanding the underlying principles that guide effective and agile project management. In essence, the process domain challenges you to master the technical jargon and nuanced distinctions that define competent project management. It requires a firm grasp of detailed processes and the agility to switch between various management styles, ensuring you are equipped to handle the dynamic needs of any project. Through PMP-360, you gain the insights and tools necessary to navigate this complex landscape, ensuring your readiness for the PMP exam and beyond. Let's discuss the business domain. The business domain of the PMP exam focuses on cultivating a business-oriented mindset in project managers, essential for navigating the complexities of modern business environments. This domain emphasizes the importance of strategic awareness, compliance, and value delivery, aligning project outcomes with broader business objectives. Here's a detailed breakdown of the key components. Strategic awareness and market sensitivity. Boundary spanning. Executives and project managers must continuously monitor external business environments to understand market trends, technological advancements, and geopolitical shifts. This awareness helps in anticipating changes that could impact or enhance the company's product offerings and strategic direction. Product owner mindset. Similar to boundary spanning, a project manager should think like a product owner, making strategic decisions about what should be prioritized in project backlogs based on real-time market and environmental conditions. Compliance and organizational culture. Regulatory compliance. Ensuring that all project activities adhere to relevant laws, regulations, and standards is crucial for maintaining corporate integrity and avoiding legal penalties. Cultural impact. Understanding how an organization's culture influences project execution and how, in turn, a project may impact the organizational culture is vital for managing internal dynamics and aligning project goals with organizational values. Value and benefits realization. Evaluation of project benefits. A key responsibility of a project manager is to continuously evaluate whether a project is delivering value. This involves discerning between valuable and non-valuable activities, focusing resources where they can generate the most significant impact. Benefits management plan. This plan outlines how to achieve project benefits, specifying target benefits, and the metrics used to measure success. Understanding the relationship between the business case, which provides justification for the project, and the benefits management plan is essential. Outcomes over output. The focus should always be on the quality of outcomes rather than the quantity of output, emphasizing the strategic impact of the project deliverables over mere completion of tasks. Incremental value delivery. Embracing agile methodologies to deliver value incrementally ensures that stakeholders begin realizing benefits even before project completion, which can also help in adjusting project paths based on stakeholder feedback and evolving conditions. Cost of delay. Recognizing the implications of delayed project delivery is critical. Delaying value can result in missed opportunities and potential financial penalties, making timely execution a strategic necessity. In essence, the business domain centers on ensuring that project managers are not only adept at managing projects, but are also strategic business thinkers who can align project goals with corporate strategies and market dynamics. This domain equips them to handle projects as business initiatives that require a keen understanding of value, strategic alignment, and compliance within the global business landscape. PMP 360 is your fast track to mastering the PMP exam in just 4 power-packed hours. What awaits you? Solid foundation for all PMP aspirants, newbies or seasoned. Expert-led training. Learn from Phil, a PMP-certified trainer who has coached elite teams at the FBI, NASA, US Army, and more. Content tailored for you. Whether you're a newcomer or a pro needing a refresher, this flexible session is designed to boost your project management knowledge. Badge of completion. 4 PDUs. Earn valuable credentials that can be applied towards your PMP certification or maintenance. Why is PMP 360 different? Master the core. We meticulously dissect the 35 PMP tasks, ensuring you understand the nitty-gritty of the exam. Ace the situational. This isn't about memorization. Learn to think strategically and answer those tricky what-to-do-next questions with confidence. Agile and predictive expertise. Navigate both project management styles like a pro. Become a business acumen pro. Learn to deliver maximum value and align projects with broader business goals. Who should attend? PMP exam takers. Newbies or those in the midst of prep, this is your launchpad to success. Certified PMPs, 5 years. Refresh your knowledge and stay sharp with the latest PMP exam content. Limited spots available. Register now! Don't just pass the PMP exam, own it! PMP-360 is your key to unlocking your project management potential. Sign up now!
All right, my friends. Well, you got to sign up because this is going to be a very helpful addition to your prep. Those of you who are wondering how you're going to conquer the beast, how you're going to get good before your exam, or perhaps you don't even know where to start from. Maybe you're wondering how you're going to conquer this beast. I have had students say, my organization says I need to get certified and I'm going for a crummy course. I don't know what to do. Let me help you out a little bit tonight. I am going to show you some of the major philosophies for the PMP exam. And I want to start off by showing you the idea behind project management in an organized environment. So let's start off with this map of the world, if you will, of project management. Let's expand it and let's talk about how it all unfolds. A lot of folks are not exposed to how it unfolds, but it unfolds with the project charter being the very first official document of project management. This is a document that authorizes the project. It authorizes the project manager to apply resources to the project. Even in an agile environment, it is not uncommon to have a project charter that authorizes whatever the team is going to work on. So whether you are in the world of predictive or you're in the world of agile, a project charter comes into play. Okay. You can Google project charter, or you could even just say, ChatGPT, give me an example of a project charter on an IT project. It'll develop a project charter for you in seconds. So a project charter is the first step, right? It authorizes the project and it helps everyone get on the same page. Something else that happens in the world of predictive project management is once we have our marching orders, we begin to identify our stakeholders. By now, we already have some stakeholders identified, but we identify other stakeholders. Okay. In the world of Agile, a lot of our stakeholders are already identified before the team even remotely begins. Sometimes it's internal stakeholders, but other times they're external. So this is a valuable step that should happen, whether you're in the world of predictive or agile. Okay. We also get an output from this endeavor, which is called a stakeholder register. And the stakeholder register, again, is a document that puts all the stakeholders into categories, the phase they're most interested in, what is our general understanding of these stakeholders at a high level. And we do more with the stakeholder register as the project proceeds. But let's jump into the next big thing. The next big thing is you have to plan. A lot of the naysayers about Agile, one of their arguments is, well, you don't plan in Agile, you just do stuff. And that's actually a lie, because in the world of Agile, we plan at every level. We plan at the strategy level, we plan at the product level, we plan the releases, we plan the sprints, we have a daily scrum or daily stand-up meeting, whatever you want to call it. So there's planning happening at every level. In the world of predictive, there's a lot of planning as well. And these are some of the things I am going to expose you to in the training. The project management plan is different in the world of Agile. It is emerging as we proceed. It's more like a sprint plan or an iteration plan. But in the world of predictive, this is something that we have tied down. In fact, we want to buckle it down as much as possible right from the get-go before work begins in earnest. So when you're thinking of project management, you got to look at it from two angles, just like I'm telling you. You got to say, okay, project management plan, how is that done in Agile? How's it done in Predictive? In Predictive, we have subsidiary plans. We develop those to the ninth degree. In the world of Agile, we kind of develop them sprint by sprint, right? So we do what we call backlog refinement. We refine the backlog, we understand the contents, and then the product owner decides, okay, this is how we're going to proceed as far as value is concerned. What do you think, developers? What do you think, team? So there has to be that ebb and flow, back and forth, massaging of the plan as we go along in the world of Agile, sprint by sprint, iteration by iteration. Even in the world of Kanban, which is another Agile approach, we're always taking a look at the items to prioritize. So in the world of predictive, we get moving. Once we get our plan, and the next step is you get moving, you direct and manage the project work. If you're the PM, the team is involved in working. As you can see here, we got these jokers on the screen, and they're trying to work, but they're not able to work fast enough. When you're directing and managing the project work, you don't just command and control. You got to look at what is going on, and that helps you to adjust. Sometimes you need to adjust the plan, and other times you just need to adhere to the plan. You got to look for whatever needs to be done. In the world of predictive, we talk about crashing the project, fast tracking the project. And this just means when you're crashing, you're adding more resources to the tasks on the critical path. But when you're fast tracking, you're doing critical path tasks that should have been sequential in parallel. So these jokers on the conveyor belt, you see them, they're trying to work, and that's how the project is, ebbs and flows. But the PM needs to be aware. At the end of the day, as the work is being done, you're going to get a deliverable. When we say deliverable, a lot of times people think about a product. But a deliverable isn't just a product. A deliverable could be a product, a service, or some other result. So the idea is as you're directing and managing the work, you are going to eventually come out with the deliverable. Now, in the world of Agile, it doesn't work the same way. We don't magically appear with a fully functional deliverable at the end of the project. Instead, we are releasing in iterations, right? We're releasing increments through the iterations, or we could be releasing incrementally in batches of iterations. But one of the things we endeavor to do in the world of Agile is at the end of every iteration, we want a PSI, a potentially shippable increment. So these jokes on the conveyor belt here, if they had a sprint of every 5 minutes, that's how it is. You deliver value every 5 minutes. But in the real world, the sprints are generally 2 weeks on average. You could have less than 2 weeks. You could have up to 4 weeks is recommended. But remember, the Agile Manifesto talks about delivering couple of weeks to a couple of months with preference to the shorter time scale. So just remember that, when you're looking at this map, I don't want you to just look at it blindly and say, well, I guess that's how it all works. No, I don't want you to do that. I want you to really think and ask yourself, okay, what is happening in this agile world and what is happening in this predictive world? All right. Let's see if we can find where our slides have gone, because our slides have vanished all of a sudden. So let's go back to the map. This is the one I really wanted to hone in on because a lot of people get lost from the beginning. So now you're kind of getting a sneak preview of some of the topics that we could possibly cover. But the one I want to hit is where we were right at the end, right there. So as I was saying, in the world of Agile, we got this ebbs and flows, sprints. We deliver incrementally. We work in iterations, but in the world of predictive, what do? Work, work, work. And at the end, boom, we get our deliverable. What happens to the deliverable? Well, when we get the deliverable, it needs to be quality controlled. We got to inspect it. So we have another bunch of comedic characters here. Well, that's Charlie. He's kind of testing the deliverable. Now, when you test a deliverable, when you inspect a deliverable, it's either going to sink or swim. It's either, yes, it's good, advance to the next stage, or, oh, there's something wrong, let's redo. And in the world of Agile, it works differently. You see, in the world of Agile, we do have inspections, and we do want to have our internal quality checks, our tests. That's why in the world of Agile, when you get a team together, you don't just want a bunch of developers. You want a developer, you want a tester, you want a UX person. And I don't mean to go all IT on you, but the concept is you have a team with T-shaped skills, a team that can do the work completely. So you got a writer, you got an editor, you got a creative writer, you got a technical writer. If you're working on a publication, for example, you got everyone. That's all I'm saying. So when we do this quality control thing, we are not just doing it at the end of a sprint. No, we're testing all the way through. Remember, in the world of Agile, in your Agile practice guide, for those of you who've cared to read it, you've read about TDD, test driven development. Testing comes first, the development is after. Remember the red, green, clean? You remember that? Red, you write a test, it's going to fail. Then you make the test be passed by you writing code. That's what we mean by green. And clean, you're going to clean up that code and make sure everything's polished. So the concept of quality works differently in the world of Agile in that it is not something you do at the end of a cycle, it's something you do continuously. The concept of the retrospective, that's quality. The concept of the daily scrum, that's quality. The concept of the sprint review, that's quality. The concept of the retrospective. So you got to think differently when you're taking this exam so that you can be ambidextrous. You don't want to be just a one trick pony. I'm good with Agile. And then you're deplorable with the processes. You don't even know your 49 processes. You have no clue. No, you don't want to be that. That's why I'm putting this together to help those of you who are kind of removed. You're kind of removed from this whole how it all weaves together in a hybrid way. Got to get you to think hybrid. But anyway, at the end of the day, the project management plan fuels everything pretty much, right? Once it's created. When you get done in the predictive world with controlling your quality, there's an output. Like I said, it's either passing the test or not. And if it does pass the test, we call it a verified deliverable. That means it has a stamp of approval from the performing organization. And if it has a stamp of approval from the performing organization, as you can see, this other joker is very happy. Well, that's the customer, Mr. Bean. And he's saying he likes what he sees. He likes it. So if your customer likes it, if your customer says, yeah, that deliverable is exactly what we were looking for, it's a great job. If that's the case, then you proceed to the next step. And the next step is taking that accepted deliverable and putting it into production. We call that close project or phase. And this is where we have a final report or final product, service, or result transition. And there he is again. Now, in the world of Agile, it works very differently because at the end of each sprint, you have your sprint review. You could get feedback that a deliverable is great. You can also get feedback that you can take and create more stories based on the stakeholder feedback. So, if you have additional stories and the updates and the product owner decides, okay, when are these stories going to come in? But you don't just take a deliverable and then move it into closing. No, remember, we're talking about iterations in the world of Agile. So whenever you look at this map, I need you to think both from a predictive angle and from an agile angle. And your question needs to be, how does it work in agile? How does closing work in agile? Well, closing works differently. Just because you got a backlog of 300 items doesn't mean all 300 items are going to be done. You could get to item 150 and the customer could say, oh, this is good. We got enough. This works for us. Thank you very much. Let's move into just shutting it down. And you could shut everything down. And that's okay. Because, in the world of agile, it's based on value, right? We talk about customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So there's no contract that says you have to do all the items. And that's not to say that you couldn't be on a unique project where all the items need to be done. But from an agile mindset perspective, you need to be aware that closing could happen at any time. And we're always ready to close in the world of agile because guess what? We do our retrospectives at the end of each sprint, not at the end of the project. You see the difference there? Also, there could be, it's not impossible, that there's a final report. You need to remember that your exam, the PMP exam, is a project management professional exam. So it is possible to have some intermingling of concepts from agile and predictive. We call that hybrid. So you got to be on the lookout for that. All right, let's see what else we've got here. We also have the understanding that our entire project is fueled with the project management plan. You also need to understand that change requests come into play during the project. Your change request could come from a number of places, and I'm not saying cram or memorize, but understand the dynamics. If you're doing anything in monitoring and controlling, you're likely to get the output of a change request. Many in executing as well, because as you're doing the work, there has to be tweaks. It's that simple. Those change requests go to perform integrated change control and they get reviewed. There's also a dynamic here of the project management plan. Like I said, it goes everywhere. We also have the concept of work performance reports. You're working on a project and your boss wants to know what is the status. So there's those reports. But how does that work in Agile and how do changes work? Well, in the world of Agile, when we have changes, there's something we call the dynamic scope option. It's on page 77, 78 in the Agile practice guide. You should go read it up. But the concept is that change requests work differently. You can swap an item out with something of similar value in the backlog if you're doing this from a contractual point of view. But we don't get caught up in big old change requests and writing and stuff like that. It works differently, more fluidly in the world of Agile. Remember that we're doing things in iteration, so we're actually working with our product owner to do what is prioritized accordingly as high value first, or as much as possible. We don't want to make it a hard and fast rule, but as a product owner, you want to think of value, you want to think of risk, you want to think of the benefits, you want to think of the cost of delay, things such as that. So in this world of predictive, the way things work anyway is we have work performance information, which is the analyses we do that gets put into the process of monitoring and controlling the project work. And then an output we get is a report that tells management how well we're doing. Don't forget, though, that in the world of Agile, we have other ways we do these things. We have something that we call a burn up chart and a burn down chart. And we can have burn up charts for sprints, or we could have them for entire releases. We could have them for certain epics. We could have them for features. So that's how we generally roll in the world of Agile. We don't get gung ho in all these weekly reports and stuff, because you're working sprint by sprint. Before you know it, the sprint's done. What use is it going to churn out a big old report? So we don't live that way in the world of Agile. We live differently. The project management plan goes through all processes pretty much except develop project charter and develop project management plan. It's also important to understand that as you're working, you're going to get work performance data from direct to managed project work. Think about it. In any environment, if you're working, you're observing how the work is proceeding. We call that a raw observation. Maybe you're working and you discover, oh, we got 10 defects. It's a raw observation. You got to analyze it further. You got to understand what the implication of your 10 defects is. And that's pretty much what this map means. The project management plan fuels everything. All right. As we're going through this, if you have any questions, feel free to ask the questions. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions. I just saw my buddy Robert came in. Robert, welcome. Robert says exam greatness and project management precision. Good to see you, Robert, as always. Hope you have a lovely night. But thank you very much. For those of you who are just joining, welcome, welcome. We're talking about the event coming up next week. It's the PM-360 for the PMP exam. I know some of you have been seeing it, but on Saturday, that's when we're going in on this PMP exam. Many people taking this journey. It can be a lonely road. I remember when I was getting ready for my exam, and I bought a book off eBay back in the day because I couldn't afford buying books anywhere else. It was very difficult. So the guy I brought the book from, I was asking him, hey, can you give me some tips on the exam? And all he wanted to do was sell his book. He sold his book, and that was the last I heard of him. And it was a struggle. So I encourage you tonight, this morning, wherever you are in the world, if you are stuck and you are trying to find some help, you need someone to explain something to you, please take advantage of us being online together. NC Worker, I did give NC Worker a shout out prior. NC Worker, thank you for coming through as always. And all our other friends who come through, welcome, welcome. If you have any questions about the exam, maybe it's a technical kind of question, or it's just a exam process kind of question, do let me know so that before we round up today, I can help you get clarity in your prep. But anyway, what I've gone over is pretty much the PMP exam from a predictive and agile lens. There are many other things that you need to be aware of. Let's go over one of those. There's one of those I would like to go over with you real quick. So let's do this one, the PMBOK guide. A lot of people say, but Phil, should I read PMBOK? Should I read PMBOK 7? And the answer is, I don't begrudge you for reading PMBOK guide if you want to, but I just don't want to make it law, you see. I think that the most value you will get out of the PMBOK 7 is going to be in the principles, especially. So be a good steward, collaborate, develop a collaborative environment, engage your stakeholders. Number 3, focus on value. If it's not valuable, don't do it. See the big picture. Number 5, be a great leader, demonstrate leadership behaviors, influence, right? Persuasion, not carrot and sticks, not whacking people over the head with words, not punishing people. PMI doesn't roll that way. The answers will never be punish Phil and send him to the basement. It would not be that. It would rather be coach him, mentor him, train him, help him. That's the logic. Tailor based on context. Make sense to tailor your processes that you're using on a project. Build quality into what you do. Navigate complexity. We talk about the Stacy model. If you haven't read up the Stacy model with the axes of the requirement certainty and the technical certainty, highly advise you look that up in your Agile practice guide. The concept of risk, the concept of adaptability, being resilient. It's all about being adaptable first. And adaptability is really being agile. When you really boil it down, my friends. Number 11, let's circle it for emphasis. Number 11. When you talk about this one right here, oh, there we go again. It's gone. It vanished. Let's see if we can bring it back. All right. So when we talk about the concept of adaptability, this one, adaptability You hear the agile life cycle being called adaptable, and that's because this is talking more about being agile in your behaviors, being agile as an organization. You know the organizations that are not agile. You know the organizations that are no more. I talk about them all the time. The best, um, the what do you call them? The Toys R Us, the what do you call them? The back in the day, the name escapes me. There were the video rental people that had all the videos that you would rent, and their name begins with B. I always mix them up. But there was them and there was Netflix, and now they're no more. Um, but Netflix is still alive. Why? Because Netflix developed a digital approach. So all this is saying is you got to be adaptable, you got to be agile. Another example would be Kodak. Kodak is no more. Kodak in the very beginning, they were the big kahuna, but they didn't keep up with the trend. They were not agile. So this is saying be agile and you'll be resilient. Just like Amazon. Amazon could have been no more by now, but they're always adapting and adding new features and watching the market. And I got to give it to them. They are aware of the importance of leadership and all this stuff that we talk about on the PMP exam. They're doing it. They're doing it. They've got, I believe it's 17 agile principles. So they're doing really well. And then change is the final one, enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. So if you're going to read PMBOK 7, my recommendation is to focus more on the principles, understand those details, and it's going to be good for you. All right, let's move on to the final thing for today. The final thing I want to hit today is just the general understanding of project management from a predictive lens or an agile lens. Like I spoke about the Stacy model. Well, here's a Stacy model. You could be in a simple zone, which means everything is predictable. You've done it before. There's no confusion as to whether you can do it or how you're going to do it. You can see you're close to agreement in terms of the requirements and close to certainty in terms of how to do it technically. But as you begin to move towards far from agreement in the requirements, far from agreement in the technicality, you're going to hit the complex zone. And this is where you want to use some more of your agile. This is where you should be more agile than anything else. Complicated in terms of the technicality, or complicated in terms of the requirements and the human interactions and the decisions as to which features to add. Yeah, you want to be more agile. As you begin to move away from here, this is where you need to be more agile. But complicated could mean many moving parts, but it doesn't necessarily mean unknown or never done before. You know what I mean? Like if you're assembling a watch, if you follow the instructions step by step, even though there's like 1,000 instructions, 1,000 steps, but it's still predictable largely. It's not unknown territory. Complex is different. Complex is we ain't done this before and we don't even know the technicality behind it very well. This is where you need to be agile. So agile works best when there's high variability, where you need to experiment, and where change is likely. What do you need to make agile work? Well, like I said in the very beginning, you need buy-in, T-shaped skills. A co-located team works, but we're talking about co-located mentally more than anything else. Co-located, you could be using Zoom and be co-located mentally, right? You have people who are on the ground together and not co-located mentally. So when I talk about co-location, just being in a place physically is not enough. We need to be in that same mind space. Predictive works best when the requirements are well understood and when there's little chance of change. So, my friends, over the past number of minutes, we've been talking about our event coming up this week, which is called PM 360. As you can see, there's so many possibilities that we could talk about here. We could talk about change management, we could talk about scope, and we could also talk about how the different delivery approaches, the different life cycle approaches are important for the exam, like predictive and iterative. Contrary to what many people think, they have something in common: single delivery, right? Incremental and agile, they have something in common with iterative, dynamic scope. What about the delivery? Well, this is where incremental and agile are different from iterative. Frequent smaller deliveries and frequent small deliveries. And this is just a tiny little piece of what we are going to be covering together. Okay. I hope this gave you some insights, gave you some food for thought, helped you see things in a different way. But that's it for this presentation. Remember, if you are looking to take the exam and you're all alone, struggling alone, taking exams alone in a vacuum, I want to encourage you to come over to the PMP 360. PMP 360 is happening this week. You can sign up if you go to 360.pmradio.org. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen, 360.pmradio.org. Right now, we have an early bird offer going on. It's quite ridiculous. If I were you, I would jump on there real quick and sign up and come for the session. Come with your questions, come prepared to learn. And just remember, you're speaking to someone who's the poster child for the PMP. A lot of people, they discredit the PMP as a scam, but it's not a scam. And I am a testament to that. I got certified in 2005. Within a few weeks of getting certified, I got an offer which was like night and day compared to where I was making in the $19-20 an hour range, to all of a sudden making $75 an hour in the blink of an eye. And then from there to even bigger and more significant organizations and entities as the years went on. So if you are thinking the PMP exam is a scam, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It's a door opener. It changes the game. As a result of my PMP, I was able to do a ton of things financially that I would never, even in my wildest dreams, have been able to do without it. Since I got certified, I have helped scores of entities worldwide, scores of organizations. I have helped them with their project management. I've helped to get their people certified. I've helped to train them on leadership concepts, because being PMP certified opened my eyes to the importance of leadership. So I started studying with John Maxwell and became one of his founding members. But my eyes would have stayed fast shut if I had not dabbled into the world of structured project management. You gotta remember that I was already in project management, but I wasn't immersed and entrenched. And I didn't really see it as a profession, right? I saw it as a role, but it really is a profession. It is. So I want to encourage you, if you are thinking of getting certified, come on the program. As you can see here, I've got all these certifications from PMI. I have many other certifications that are not on the screen in Scrum and Agile and other things. So you're in great hands, you know. Trained lots of entities, as you heard in the infomercial before the training. The likes of the FBI and NASA have trained teams there to get certified. Even the government knows. Even Uncle Sam knows. So for those people who are in denial about the PMP exam, I do feel sorry for those people. They might have had it rough on the test, or they think the world revolves around their domain of focus. And that's not the case. It's a big world out there. I've trained everyone from Jim Beam, who makes the whiskey and the drinks, to Lush Cosmetics, who make cosmetics that we use. I've trained clothing companies, companies that are into the world of IT and business and healthcare. So if anyone is telling you that PMP is not relevant anymore, they're lying to you. The PMP is what you make of it. When you get certified, you got to keep building your value. And if you do that, you will always remain relevant. So don't listen to the naysayers, the people trying to make you think PMP is a waste of your time and you're giving PMI free money and PMI is a dubious organization. Those things aren't true. Again, it's what you make of it, right? The same way some people, they graduate and they forget that they've got a degree. You can't blame the college. You can't blame the college. You got to blame the student who forgot that they learned something. You can't keep blaming the school. I know the school system has got its own issues, but there's some folks who forget, that they are at an advantage by going through that process. The same token, there are many people who go through the PMP process and they're like, I don't have a job. I'm looking for a job. And I'm like, okay, how did you improve yourself beyond? Because there's a million plus of us and there's competition, right? So the PMP is not a free meal ticket for life that says, I never have to work, I never have to develop myself. No, no, no. You develop yourself. But when you do and you put your best foot forward, people recognize and they know that the real deal showed up. I've seen it time and time again in interviews over and over and over. But before I got certified, I'll tell you the story and then I'll let you go for the night. I went for an interview at DHL in Scottsdale. It was a horrible interview. It was the worst interview I've ever been for. Total disaster. Didn't know what on earth I was saying because I thought I did. But academic project management can be rather different from real world project management. And I didn't know that at the time. I'd done a master's degree, I'd done a dissertation of barriers to implementing project management systems. So I was using that knowledge, totally unaware that there's a different world in the professional space from PMI. Actually, the person who interviewed me was a Prince 2 person. So they're asking me all these questions and I'm answering them based on what I thought the answer should be. But I was so far off, it was pathetic. But as time went on and I got certified and I became stronger and I started studying project management seriously, there would be few interviews I would go for that I wouldn't be able to dominate the interview. Dominate the interview by asking questions, flip it on its head. And I got offers after offer, and the rest is history. And here I am today, now helping organizations get stronger in their project management. And it all started from the PMP, from my mentor, Mary, who said one day, you make a good PMP. I said, how do I even get into this thing? I've been hearing about it. And then she showed me the way, just like I'm about to show some of you who don't know how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. On Saturday, we're going to meet. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to tell you the secrets. I'm going to show you what you should be studying, give you some examples of the question types to look out for. And you're going to be more confident. I don't believe in, oh, the PMP exam is so hard and it's so unattainable. You have to be a brain box. No. You have to study, right? You have to work hard, but it's not insurmountable by any stretch. I've trained everyone, like I said, these companies that are so far removed from the technicalities. I've trained people that studied everything from English and languages and music. And those who study the engineerings, and everyone gets certified, because again, the PMP isn't about the technical difficulty, right? It's a syllabus of people, process, and business, just like you heard in the advert before. But you do need to be comfortable with it. Okay, my friends. Well, that's all for tonight. I do not see any questions in the queue. I guess that means I have done a good job in explaining what I'm about. So I want to say thank you for joining me. It's that time. We got to jump. And I'll see you again, hopefully very soon. You take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Let's move on to our final process, close project or phase. Close project or phase is the final process in the project integration management knowledge area, but it is also, when you take a look at the PMBOK guide as a whole, it's that last thing you do to close everything else out. Now, I know stakeholder management is the last knowledge area, but the last process is close project or phase. Especially if you're looking down by process group, the last thing you do in closing is closing out either the phase or the project. So you're closing out either a phase or a project, and a big one, you're collecting lessons learned. What are some of the things that happen as you're closing out the project or phase? First of all, you want to ensure stakeholder satisfaction. You want to transition the deliverable to the customer. You want to carry out your lessons learned. And of course, we're talking about the overall lessons learned. This is where you're compiling all of those lessons learned that you've been collecting already throughout the project. This is where you want to make sure sellers are paid. You also want to make sure you're releasing resources, and you are archiving any relevant documents into the organization's repository, OPAs, organizational process assets, or the corporate knowledge base. Okay, let's take a look at our inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs from this process. The main goal is transitioning the deliverable to the customer and carrying out a final lessons learned for a phase or the project as a whole. The inputs to this process, the project charter, we've talked about this previously. Remember, it has exit criteria. The project management plan, which guides us on how to close the project. We have project documents as relevant, and there's so many of them, I'm not even going to go into that now. Accepted deliverables. These are deliverables that have been accepted by the customer. Well, we need to transition these deliverables to the customer's team, operations team, who are going to be working with the deliverable that we've got from the project or the service. We also have business documents. And when we talk about business documents, all manner of business documents, which could include the business case and the benefits management plan. These could be included here. You know, the PMI is fond of the clause could include, but are not limited to, business case and benefits management plan. We also have agreements. Anything that was in an agreement, in a contract, we need to make sure it's done and it's fulfilled. The next input is procurement documentation and organizational process assets. A lot of stuff. Let's take a look at the tools and techniques. Expert judgment needs no introduction. As we're closing out the project, any expertise needed to close out the project comes in here. Data analysis is a big one here too. So document analysis, analyzing various project documents to make sure that indeed we can close out the project. Regression analysis, make sure that we are truly on track and we've stayed on track, or have we regressed in any way. Trend analysis, looking for trends towards project closure. It helps us learn lessons, of course. And variance analysis, what did we plan? What did we get? Okay. And the last tool and technique is meetings. Let's take a look at our outputs here. The first output, project documents updates. Now it looks a little bit innocent and familiar, but bear in mind that there is a very important document, the lessons learned register, which could be updated as a result of this process. It's a very important one to look out for. The lessons learned register could be used on associated projects to understand what went well, what didn't go so well on this particular project, and make sure that we avoid any errors and we capitalize on things that we've done well and we make them repeatable and so on. The next output is final product, service, or result transition, and this refers to the final transition of the deliverable to the customer. The next output is final report. Many projects require a final report regarding various items, and this is where you would put that together. This should have already been discussed way in advance of the project. Last but not least, organizational process assets updates. This refers to all of those documents that are going to the organization's repository, going to either update the processes and procedures or update the corporate knowledge base. And that, folks, is really the end of this process, close project or phase. But it's big because on the exam, remember, you're going to get quite a few questions. And we only have one process in this entire area of closing out the project. So I would advise that you spend some good time going through the inputs and especially the outputs of this process. The lessons learned register, final product, service, or result transition, final report, lessons learned as a whole. Understand all that stuff and you'll be smiling all the way to the score bank to get your huge scores on the PMP or CAPM exam. Okay? So that's that for our final process. And in the next few videos, we'll wrap up and I'll give you guidance on what to do next.